Hey everybody, it's Ben, and I'm back once again with another video for you guys. Today I'll be reviewing Daredevil by Mark Waid, Volume 4. The series is written by Mark Waid, and in this particular volume we have Chris Samney and Mike Allred on the artwork. On the colouring we have Laura Allred, and we have Javier Rodriguez on the colouring as well. Chris Samney does the artwork for issues 16 and 18 through 21. And then Mike Allred fills in for an issue with issue 17. And we have Javier Rodriguez doing the colouring for Chris Samney's issues, and we have Laura Allred doing the colouring for Mike Allred's issue. So the story starts out right after the events of the previous issue in issue 15, which is collected in volume 3, where we have Hank Pym basically destroying the sensory deprivation robots that were implanted in Matt Murdock's brain, or Daredevil's brain, by Dr. Doom's lackeys when Daredevil paid an involuntary visit to Latveria, as you can see there. Right off the bat in this first issue we see some really interesting parallels between Matt's life and also Hank's as well, particularly when it comes to the fact that Matt Murdock lost his former love interest or former girlfriend, Karen Page, and Hank has also lost his former love interest and former wife, Janet, as well. So there's that that kinship and that parallel between the two characters, in that they've both experienced really tragic losses, which is actually touched upon in the issue, where something happens in Daredevil's mind which enables him to, for lack of a better choice of words, see into Hank's memories, because of his superhuman senses going into overdrive due to the fact that Matt is temporarily incapacitated at the start of this issue. Once Daredevil, or Matt Murdock, has recovered, he then returns to his law firm, Nelson and Murdock, where Foggy Nelson confronts him about finding his father's remains and his father's boxing gloves in his desk. So Foggy, coming across as a real douchebag towards Matt in how he treats Matt and how he receives this this revelation, or supposed revelation, about Matt, he then dissolves both his friendship with Matt and also their partnership in the Nelson and Murdock law firm. And unfortunately, as I said, the friendship between the two is then dissolved by Foggy. And with issue 17, we have a flashback to to an earlier meeting with Matt and Foggy. Specifically, we go back to when Matt and Foggy were actually based in New York when they first started out as a law firm together. This was shortly after Karen Page, their secretary, and as I said, former love interest and former secretary for their law firm, actually. Well, former love interest of Matt Murdock, I should say. And their former secretary left to make a career for herself in Hollywood, as you can see there and there. Unfortunately, the stresses of running a law firm on their own are really getting to both Matt and Foggy, and they're at each other's throats. And then, to make matters worse, you throw in Stilt Man into the mix when he attempts to burglarize Nelson and Murdock, as you can see there and there. Absolutely fantastic artwork by Mike Allred, as well as the colouring by Laura Allred as well. And there's a really great sort of Silver Agey feel to this particular issue, issue 17. And there's also some great commentary on the fact that Stilt Man is actually one of the more absurdly costumed villains in Daredevil's Rogues Gallery, as you can see there and a really great, really fun, like I said, really kind of Silver Agey issue, and a one-issue self-contained story of Daredevil basically thwarting Stilt Man, and then at the end you really see the friendship between both Foggy and Matt, and you really see the extent to which Foggy's friendship actually delves for Matt, in the respect that he gets Matt to basically try out this new machine that this doctor has created, and there's some really endearing scenes where you find out that Matt, through this machine, is actually able to see. And what Foggy does is he shows him a videotape of some camera recorded footage of his father battling Jack Murdock's last fight in the boxing ring. This was the championship fight that the Fixers told Jack that he had to throw. Jack basically told the Fixers to go to hell, and he won the fight anyway because he wanted his son, he wanted Matty to be proud of him. But then, sadly and tragically, shortly thereafter, battling Jack Murdock was gunned down by some mobsters, which then left Matt without his father. And then you see the reaction on Matt's face of being able to actually see his father's last fight, as you can see there. I have to hand it to Mark Waid. He really knows how to really pull on your heartstrings and really makes some really endearing and touching moments through his storytelling in that particular issue. At the same time, after issue 17, you really get to see Daredevil's detective side, as he's trying to deduce exactly who is messing with his life and has been messing with his life up until this point. So this then leads Daredevil on the trail of some of the well-known criminal figures within the New York underworld, which leads to some really great action scenes and some great fight scenes as well, as you can see there and there. Also, at the same time, while this is going on, you really start to buy into the fact that possibly Matt Murdock is crazy, especially when you see that Matt has jumped out of a building while doing his investigation, and you think for a minute he's forgotten his billy club and he's going to plummet to his death. But then on the next page you see that he does have his billy club on him, and even Matt says in his inner monologue, "I'm more protective of this billy club than I am of Captain America's of his shield," as you can see there. And even Matt says to himself in his inner monologue that he isn't crazy. But as I said, Mark Waid does a really great job of actually making you question whether Matt is indeed insane or not, especially given the context of everything that's going on. And then you also have the introduction of a new villain created on the part of Mark Waid and Chris Samney, and that is of Coyote, as you can see there. Chris Samney and Javier Rodriguez are still doing an absolutely fantastic job on both the artwork and the colouring. You also have Coyote's backstory of how he came to be, and you also see just how, or the means to which how Coyote has been able to really put Daredevil's life through the ringer and do it in such a way that it is possible that Matt might be going insane as Coyote pulls off the execution of everything so well. And there's a great callback right to the very beginning of Mark Waid's run with issue 1, which I'm not going to spoil because it's a really great callback, and it really pays off if you've been following the Daredevil series right from the very beginning. With issue 21, you have a really intense issue and a really fast and breakneck paced story where you have Daredevil attempting to save Coyote from the hell of his own making that he's made in his time, as he's been utilizing various people and various technologies that he's been able to, as I said, really put Daredevil's life through the ringer. But as I said, I'm not going to spoil it because I want you guys to pick this up and read it for yourselves. And there's also a really great scene where Matt, upon meeting with Foggy again after everything that's happened with Coyote, he finally has enough and he really lets Foggy has a piece of his mind. And he says to Foggy, you know, after everything we've been through, you know, this isn't the first time that, you know, supervillains or super criminals have tried to really mess up both of our lives. And if you think I'm not above trying to atone for all the bad things I've done, then you don't know me at all. And then Matt just tells Foggy to go to hell. And there's also, again, a great reveal at the end of issue 21. Mark Waid is still doing an absolutely fantastic job on the writing and the storytelling for this series, as well as the artwork by Chris Samney, the colouring by Javier Rodriguez, as well as the guest issue by both Michael Allred. Absolutely fantastic artwork and colouring. If you aren't reading Daredevil and you're a fan of Mark Waid, if you're a fan of the Hornhead, if you're a fan of Marvel Comics, then you really should be reading Daredevil. It is one of the best books that Marvel is publishing right now, and the entire run from issue 1 up until this point that I've read so far by Mark Waid has been absolutely phenomenal, and I cannot recommend this series highly enough. As I said, it's one of the best, and it's just, you know, it's up there in my top favourite Marvel books that they're publishing right now, hands down. If I had to give this 4th volume of Mark Waid's Daredevil a rating, I'd give it an absolute 5 out of 5. I really enjoyed it, and I highly recommend it. And that about concludes this review video, guys. Thank you everybody for watching. Hope you all enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Didn't like it, thumbs it down. But as I always say, if you thumbs down the video, by all means please feel free to tell me why in the comments below, or send me a private message. If this is your first time here, by all means please feel free to subscribe. And until next time, this is Scammed896 signing off, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.